So, as we continue a bit on what we were talking about prior, let's start with our lovely optimized human brain is an integrated brain. So left and right mode, they communicate, and that leads for our actual integration of the brain. And so they work together, left and right. The left is our chit chatter. The right is the emotional center. It deals with the unknown, uncertainty, unwanted. The left breaks things down to try and get into the in-depth version of anything. And so when they're working together as partners, that lovely mindset is everything, inner growth and how you see things. Because if you're looking at it with conflict, that's already going to trigger that lovely brain of ours is a anticipatory organ. So if you're choosing criticism and you're choosing approaches that lead you to need to survive, you're limiting the consciousness potential that you can expand on as your body's its own intelligence. And the, again, brain is an anticipatory organ. So it's going to hone in on that which is negative, which is where criticism does not support. In fact, criticism cannot help a person heal from unresolved trauma because it's only through a lens of compassion. People don't understand the word because they don't know that compassion, physiologically speaking, you're in a state of compassion when your insula lights up. The amygdala is alerted because something needs your attention, but we move from our temporal junction, which relates to everything from experiences from the past. So that's where I can relate to you about something that has happened because I'm a human and you're a human, and that's pretty straightforward. My 5D collective knows there's not these entities. We don't spend time in imagination land that way. When we do have our clairs and channeled guidance, and so for tarot or Akashic record readings or any of that which is involved in the sphere of whether it be mysticism or holistic, they're different, but then again, they're coming all together. 5D collective knows of the scientific methodology. So energy workers, we got plenty of scientific methodology showing the energy part. Let's leave it alone with the theologians who are going against Reiki and calling us demons and whatever. You know, again, there's so many different areas of focus, and people care for story versus to learn. Because if they wanted to learn, they would also stop saying that it's human nature to kill each other. No, it's not. Actually, it's human nature to have an embodied brain, and for anybody who wants to learn about being a human, they might be able to learn about it. So compassion, once I move out of that temporal junction, instead of using the past to say, I know what the future is going to be like, 4D, 3D, other immature, emotionally speaking, because see, if you're mature, emotionally speaking, means you understand what I just said. It means you know that it's a thought and it's subjective. It's not a fact. It's not a truth. That's why pseudoscience lady or woo-woo lady is a-okay with me, because one, I bring together different topics, but two, I'm not trying to make it a fact or make it anything. It's a thought. Being able to be objective is the ability to be open-minded enough to understand that I'm a person that has thoughts and feelings and you're another. And you know what healthy self-worth is? I ain't inferior or superior to you. So I don't need to feel the emotion that other people who don't understand what it means to actually be their true self. Because see, you understand being your true self as an adult, emotionally speaking human being, once you understand that your thoughts are your thoughts. Your feelings, they're feelings. You don't need to keep them non-differentiated. You can differentiate them. And that's actually the first step to your mind sight lens. I got a nervous system and a brain, and yeah, I sense life with my 5 senses and my 6th sense, and you don't have my body or brain, and you can speak to me from today to tomorrow and describe to me everything you're feeling. You know what I know? My name's Maria on the birth certificate. I have a body, and I'm a piece of consciousness in a human body. I don't need to be it in a way of supernatural something. It's energy. Scientific methodology, data, it's energy, light, but I'm in my Newtonian body. As Daniel Siegel would say, if I'm at a red light, I want to stop, because otherwise I'm going to become one with all the other cards, but I'm going to be bye-bye, and I don't want to go bye-bye. The star babies want to go bye-bye, the ones who want to be with the stars. Some of us, we like to be the embodied stars. We're all stars. So thank you, Ebony Webb. Shame, it's our social emotion. Some people, we don't use it. As Sadhguru points out, spirituality processes, we don't use social good behavior. It's not because we're being assholes. It's because we're not like, I need to feel like you do. No, I can sense however I want to sense. And if you don't like it, you can also say, I'm not going to talk to that lady because I don't like her. doesn't seem like a big deal to me. In fact, it's not a very big deal. So yeah, some people, they actually use this emotion in a way that keeps them into spaces, and then they point fingers outside and say, no, they made me do it. They made me be an asshole in the bathroom while I was saying I'm going to go beat somebody out because I didn't like what they said to me. It's called transference. It's called unresolved trauma. It's called emotional immaturity, if you don't want to use the word trauma because you don't like it. It's low self-esteem is what it is. It reminds me of my teenage friends, which I didn't find very mature at all. In fact, once I grew up, I was like, what happened? And the mental health community has helped me know what happened. Most people don't learn how to integrate their brain until they do, which is why we have a 5D collective. So they love building emotion regulation skills. They don't feel shame because they have mood swings. They also understand what chronic stress or chronic child abuse, so a person who will have had child abuse, they will not have until they choose to become compassionate with themselves. So the prefrontal cortex turns on when you're in a physiological state of compassion. And then your oxytocin gene hormone is on. That's the love button. So the differentiated self, our lovely Zen masters, the 5D collective, we are always a love button, not because we're special babies. Nope. We actually have this ability, one way, shape, or form, to not have trauma memory lingering in our brain that then brings PTSD. We also have a way to use our brain, REM neurobiology, during our sleep, heals our trauma. Our brain heals itself. People who have had childhood trauma, like Patrick Tiahan points out, he's a childhood trauma survivor and he's also a therapist, and he has a great community for anybody who's interested. Once you have healed enough from your childhood trauma, because you will have grieved that you didn't get to be lucky and have a safe way to be yourself. Not any safe way at all. So you'll have to be also angry at a certain point, because you'll realize my unresolved trauma parents or whatever I went through, they went through too. And, I'm not going to be yelling and being angry with my parents or society or I'm not going to create stories of there being devils and evils. And again, this is putting to the side people who have belief systems. The 5D collective, we're beyond belief systems. We use the scientific methodology and bring together different disciplines, and we talk like grown-ups do, and we understand belief systems. We don't argue about it. We, in fact, respectfully say, I understand your belief system, and I'm presenting to you my belief system. No, it's my conceptualization. It's not a belief system, obviously. It doesn't sit in a little box. Okay, so when your brain is working with your prefrontal cortex, you're taking in information. When your body is easy and say, you know what, yeah, I'm imperfect and flawed and I have my own opinions. You have something actually to say about it? Okay, I'm not really sure why. So as Dr. Sabina Brennan, she's using when somebody has chronic stress, what happens to the brain. So people who have had childhood trauma, they also have a traumatized brain. And so as I spelled out, neuroplasticity will not be used to allow you to integrate the brain. It will be used with the amygdala. So the frontal lobes are squished down. And that's actually one of the trauma. Immediately when you're in survival mode, your lobes are going to be squished down. This was from Jennifer Sweeten's explanation. I couldn't find my notes, but they're squished down, and then the amygdala is alerted because your brain and your body is getting ready to protect you. Your seat of empathy is off. You're only hearing the noises that are important for your survival. So you have many people who navigate their day-to-day with their fight-flight and with a brain that is not optimized because they choose to make humanity and others their enemy based on silly movies, by the way. The ones who have actual trauma that needs support, they will eventually lead themselves to a good therapist because it will become that excruciatingly painful for them to live, or they will ignore it, and that's sad. So relationships, that's how we get to support each other to instead move into what it is our nature to be, loving. As Sadhguru points out in one of his quotes, love in its purest form is unconditional. For most people, love means do what I want you to do. And he says, no, love means they can do what they want and we still love them. And true friendship, fuck you, and then we love and hug it out because we're different. So being a 5D collective is a functional adult and learning about being a person. We talk about this and more in the podcast, the videos. And on that note, be kind. You don't walk in another person's body and mind. Learn about it.